7 minutes. That was all Robert had before the Foster and Klein call that could save his job. Then he saw it. The black sedan spinning through the intersection like a broken toy. Metal shrieking against asphalt before it crumpled into the light post. Steam erupted from the hood in angry bursts. The world went silent except for the hiss of the radiator and his own heartbeat hammering in his ears. Through the spider-webbed rear window, a small hand appeared. Pale fingers pressed flat against the glass, spreading slowly, desperately. The hand was smaller than Chloe's. Robert's foot hovered over the gas pedal. Fletcher's voice echoed in his head. "Miss this meeting and you're finished." 3 months of phone calls, rescheduled appointments, begging for this one shot. The hand slipped down the window, leaving a smear of red. Robert killed the engine. The door was jammed. He used his elbow, then his shoulder, metal groaning until it gave way. The little girl's eyes were half closed, her lips the color of winter. "Sky, I've got you," he whispered, his voice steadier than his hands as he lifted her against his chest. Her breath was shallow, barely there. 1 minute to the hospital. 4 minutes until the call. The choice wasn't really a choice at all. What Robert couldn't see in that moment, couldn't possibly know, was that the fragile life, cradled in his arms, belonged to someone who would change everything. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't just cost a man his job. Sometimes it takes everything he has left and forces him to discover his true worth when there's nothing left to lose. Robert's truck smelled like coffee and old vinyl, the kind of worn-in comfort that came from 6 years of early mornings and late nights. The little girl's head lulled against his shoulder as he pressed the accelerator harder than he should have, the engine whining in protest. Her name tag dangled from her school blazer, blue and gold, the kind private schools gave to students, whose parents could afford to worry about college prep in elementary school. He didn't read the name, didn't want to know. Knowing made things complicated. The traffic light ahead burned yellow. Robert ran it. His phone buzzed in the cup holder. Fletcher's name flashing like an accusation. He ignored it. The girl coughed, a wet sound that made his stomach clench. "Almost there, sweetheart," he said, though he wasn't sure she could hear him. Her fingers had curled into the fabric of his jacket, gripping with a strength that surprised him. It reminded him of Chloe when she was smaller before the diagnosis. The emergency room doors hissed open before he'd fully stopped the truck. 2 nurses materialized, voices clipped and professional as they transferred the girl onto a gurney. Someone asked questions. Her age, any allergies, what happened? But Robert's answers came out disjointed. Car accident. He said she was alone. The driver's hurt too. Someone needs to go back. The nurses exchanged glances. One of them, older with gray streaking through her hair, touched his arm. "You did good. We'll take it from here." The gurney disappeared through double doors, and Robert stood in the fluorescent glare of the waiting room. His phone buzzed again. 7 missed calls, 12 messages. The meeting had started 19 minutes ago. Fletcher's voice crackled through the speaker before Robert could say hello, sharp and brittle like breaking glass. "Where the hell are you, Harris?" No greeting, no opening for explanation. Just fury wrapped in corporate politeness. Robert's throat tightened. There was an accident. A little girl, she needed help. "I'm at County General." Silence stretched between them, the kind that felt like falling. Then Fletcher laughed, a sound without humor. "An accident? That's what you're going with?" Robert's free hand curled into a fist. "I'm not going with anything. It's what happened." The line crackled. Foster and Klein just walked. 3 months of work, Harris. 3 months of me putting my neck on the line, and you couldn't show up for 2 hours. "I had to. I don't care what you had to do." Fletcher cut him off. "This is the 5th time in 8 months I've covered for you because you do decent work. But decent doesn't cut it anymore. You're done? Security will have your things Monday." The call ended before Robert could respond. He stood there, phone pressed to his ear, watching a doctor in green scrubs push through the double doors. The doctor scanned the waiting room, eyes landing on Robert. "You brought in the girl from the sedan?" Robert nodded. The doctor walked over. "She's stable. Concussion, broken arm, internal bruising, but she'll recover. You got her here fast enough to manage the bleeding." Another 10 minutes and he didn't finish. Robert felt something unknot in his chest. The driver critical but alive. Airlifted to Memorial. You saved 2 lives today. The doctor's hand landed on Robert's shoulder. The family's been contacted. Can I get your information for the report? Robert shook his head, already backing toward the exit. No, I'm glad she's okay. The morning air hit him like cold water. His truck sat crooked in the ambulance bay, hazard lights still blinking. A security guard was approaching. Robert climbed in before the words could land, pulled out onto the street, and drove without direction. The city blurred past, glass towers reflecting a sky that had shifted from dawn pink to flat grey. His phone sat silent now. No more calls from Fletcher. It was over that quickly. 6 years of early mornings mopping floors erased in a 30-second conversation. He thought about Chloe, probably awake now at Mrs. Patterson's apartment, eating cereal in front of cartoons. She'd ask about his day when he picked her up. Her 6-year-old optimism, untainted by the knowledge that her father had chosen between his job and a stranger's life, and that he'd chosen wrong, at least according to every practical voice, screaming about rent and medical bills and the medications keeping his daughter alive. Robert pulled into the lot of a closed diner, killed the engine and let his head fall back. His reflection stared from the rearview mirror. 42, eyes bloodshot, jaw dark with stubble. He looked like what he was, a man barely holding on. The girl's face flickered through his mind. Those half-closed eyes and blue lips. The way her small hand had gripped his jacket. He didn't regret stopping. He couldn't. Even knowing what it cost, he couldn't imagine having driven past. Some choices weren't really choices. The coffee shop where Robert filled out job applications smelled like burned espresso and other people's conversations. 3 hours, hunched over his laptop with its cracked screen, refreshing pages that all said the same thing. Position filled. Thank you for your interest. We'll keep your resume on file. His phone buzzed. Mrs. Patterson, Chloe's fever is back. Gave her the medicine. She's asking for you. Robert's chest tightened. The fever had been gone 4 days, but Chloe's body didn't work like other kids' bodies. The immune disorder diagnosed when she was 3 meant every cold became bronchitis. Every normal illness turned into a hospital stay they couldn't afford. He typed, "Coming home in 20, tell her I love her," then closed the laptop and stared at the napkin, where he'd written numbers and crossed them out. Trying to make 3,000 in savings, stretch across rent and food and medicine, for more than 6 weeks. Impossible, even without the unexpected. And with Chloe, there was always the unexpected. The barista came by. "You okay, man?" Robert realized he'd been sitting motionless too long. "Yeah, just long day." The kid nodded. "Coffee's on the house if you need another." Robert packed up his laptop, left a $1 tip he couldn't afford, and walked out into afternoon that felt like evening. The October sun was already sinking behind buildings that cast long shadows across streets where people rushed past without seeing each other. Robert used to be one of them back when he had a wife and a job that paid enough to pretend everything would be okay. Before Chloe got sick, before the medical bills started piling, before his wife left one Tuesday with a note that said, "I'm sorry," but didn't say where. Mrs. Patterson opened her door before Robert could knock. Her round face creased with worry. "She's sleeping now. Fever's down a little, but Robert, she needs to see the doctor. 3rd time this month." He knew. God, he knew. Every time he explained why Chloe missed school. Every morning he watched her struggle to breathe. He knew. "I'll take her tomorrow," he said. A lie or maybe a prayer. He didn't have insurance anymore. Hadn't for 2 months since losing his last job. The free clinic had wait lists measured in weeks, and the emergency room cost more than he made in a month. Mrs. Patterson's hand found his arm. "I can loan you something. Not much, but no." The word came out harder than he meant.